Antarctica, the last continent to be discovered, a place where normal life is nearly impossible. Remote, frigid, and shrouded in mystery. It's no wonder that astonishing discoveries emerge from this frozen land. From relatives of the Loch Ness Monster to headless beasts and other bizarre creatures and substances. In this video, I'll take you through some of the strange findings scientists have uncovered in Antarctica, along with other incredible revelations from this icy frontier. Let's dive in. Loch Ness Monster. For years, scientists and amateur researchers have been trying to figure out if the Loch Ness Monster really exists or if it's all a myth and a delusion. It seems the monster does exist after all, but they should have been looking for it not in Scotland, but Antarctica, because that's where they found a fossil of a giant sea creature resembling the Loch Ness Monster a few years ago. In fact, the remains were found in 1989 on Seymour Island. But due to weather conditions and other factors, scientists were not able to understand the find at once. It took them years to fully excavate and analyze, and only a few years ago, paleontologists concluded that the Antarctic congenitor of the Loch Ness Monster is Elasmosaurus, the famous big plesiosaur with a long neck from the late Cretaceous. The giant was up to 12 meters long and weighed up to 15 tons. This makes the Antarctic Elasmosaurus the largest marine monster of Antarctica. But it wasn't only this that amazed scientists. For a long time, paleontologists didn't know if the Elasmosaurus actually existed, so the discovery was a breakthrough for the scientific world. Headless Monster. The main feature of the Loch Ness Monster, like Elasmosaurus, is its long neck and expressive head. Neither of these is found in the next creepy creature, which was found in Antarctica about 3 years ago. Scientists who filmed it off the coast of the icy continent dubbed the creature a Headless Monster. But what is it? A real monster? A zombie? Some kind of mutant? Despite its not very pleasant appearance and frightening name, the Headless Monster is not really a monster. In fact, it's a sea cucumber or holothurian. It lives in the water column, and the fin-like membranes help the sea cucumber to rise about 1 kilometer up in the water and slowly descend. There's something creepy about this creature though. The headless sea cucumber has a translucent body, so its internal organs can be seen with the naked eye. Additionally, such a creature is capable of glowing. All in all, this is not the kind of creature you want to stumble upon. Jelly-like monster. If things are more or less clear with the Headless Monster, things are more complicated with this jelly-like creature. Several years ago, New Zealand scientists went to Antarctica on an expedition to scan the seafloor using new technology. The scientists accomplished their tasks and even exceeded them. Along with the samples of sea ground raised to the surface, they retrieved this jelly-like monster. Despite the fact that the expedition consisted of experienced scientists, even they could not understand what they had found. The monster, which lived at a depth of 3.5 kilometers, puzzled them. The researchers said they'd never seen anything like it. According to one version, the jelly-like monster could be a sea cucumber, a congenitor of the Headless Monster I told you about. According to another version, scientists may have come across a scotoplane or sea pig, a deep-sea creature. Either way, scientists have not yet determined what kind of creature they were able to raise to the surface. It's also unknown whether there's something else like this on the Antarctic seafloor or if this monster is unique and one of a kind. Strange creatures. In general, there are many mysteries in the great depths of Antarctica. For example, last year scientists explored the Filtner ice shelf by drilling several holes and placing a special camera at a depth of about 1 kilometer. They came across something they had never seen before. Strange creatures resembling sponges clung to the boulders at great depths. As it turned out, these creatures had never been seen by scientists or anyone else because they were unknown species. The creatures astonished scientists because, previously, they believed that only small scavengers and predators such as fish, worms, krill, and jellyfish could exist at such a depth under floating glaciers in complete darkness. The unexpected discovery was a real victory for scientists. They surmised that the newly discovered Antarctic sponges feed through a special kind of bacterial synthesis around them, once again convincing us that Antarctic marine life has adapted to extremely harsh conditions we could have never guessed. Sea anemone. Next, we have another creature found in the great depths. In 2014, scientists exploring the Antarctic Ocean with new robots studied the ocean currents, but unexpectedly made another discovery. While studying currents in the Ross Ice Shelf, The robot stumbled upon a creature that scientists recognized as a sea anemone. The researchers were surprised that the sea anemone was upside down and buried in the ice. But far more surprising was that the sea anemone was found in a hole that was nearly 300 meters deep. How did it manage to make a hole at the bottom of the glacier and stay there while the surface of the glacier was constantly melting? Researchers don't have an answer to this question. Do you? What do you think about this and other strange creatures found in Antarctica? Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned, because the icy continent boasts other mysteries and riddles. Alien skulls, unusual icebergs, and the most lifeless place in the world. More details are further in the video. Strange skulls. Finding even ordinary skulls and human remains in Antarctica is already a cool discovery, let alone skulls like these. This discovery has become one of the most intriguing in Antarctica in the past few years. Scientists analyzed the skulls and found they date back to the 18th century. This is very interesting because the continent was discovered later, about 100 years later. But scientists were much more interested in the shape of the skulls. Why are they elongated? Who could these remains belong to? According to one version, the skulls may be associated with the aborigines of the Peruvian Paracas Peninsula. About 100 years ago, scientists found similar elongated skulls there. In all likelihood, scientists found the Paracas natives' remains in Antarctica, who may have reached the continent centuries ago. But what if they didn't? What if these skulls are not the Paracas natives but belong to other people, or not even people? After all, according to another version, scientists found alien remains on the icy continent. Why not? Antarctica knows how to bring surprises. A few years before the discovery of the strange skulls, the scientific world was actively discussing another find. It looks like some kind of stone or an old deflated rubber ball, doesn't it? In fact, it was considered a ball for a long time. For many years, scientists could not figure out what kind of soccer player had the misfortune to lose a ball on an icy continent. But recently, the truth has emerged. As it turned out, the ball was an egg, laid by a huge marine reptile millions of years ago. It was laid not by just any reptile, but by a mosasaurus itself, one of the main prehistoric monsters that once terrified the whole world. According to scientists, the mosasaurus laid the egg about 66 million years ago. It's possible the reptile did so just before the asteroid impact that wiped out both the mosasaurus and the dinosaurs. Unusual icebergs. Antarctica is interesting not only for the finds related to living creatures, it's also home to some of the most unusual and bizarre icebergs in the world. For example, in 2018, NASA scientists filmed a perfectly rectangular-shaped iceberg on the icy continent. From the outside, it looks like a building covered in fabric or a stand. It's not every day you see something like this, because we're used to icebergs being uneven blocks of ice floating in the ocean, right? According to scientists, these rectangular icebergs are formed by breaking off from glaciers. The perfect shape of this rectangular iceberg suggests that it broke off shortly before the pictures were taken. After some time, the rectangular iceberg will slide into the sea and look like a typical block of ice. The most lifeless place in the world. I think you all know that Antarctica is the coldest place in the world. At the South Pole, the temperature can reach almost -90 degrees Celsius. But apart from this, Antarctica boasts something else. It's on this continent that you'll find the most lifeless place in the world. This conclusion was recently reached by scientists who discovered an anomaly in the dry desert near Shackleton Glacier. Scientists examined the soil of the dry desert, expecting to see the standard set of microorganisms that aren't afraid of extreme temperatures and other uncomfortable living conditions. But the analysis of samples showed something strange. There was no trace of life in the soil. No organisms, not even microbes. This is the first time that soils have been found on Earth that do not support any microbial life. Although there's a possibility that there is life in the dead zone, and that humanity does not yet have the proper equipment to verify this. At this point, this particular spot on Earth is considered to be the most lifeless, deadliest, and one of the most frightening. Let's see what happens next. That's a wrap, everyone. What other mysteries do you think the icy continent holds? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.